we're going to talk SEC Media Days. So I think, judging by my social media, I'm not the only person to be reading in between the lines here. But the SEC Media Days, Georgia is next Tuesday. I want to say, what is that? July 16th. If I'm not next Wednesday is the 16th. The 15th, Tuesday, Georgia's day at the SEC Media Days. And Kirby Smart has announced the representatives, and the representatives are CJ Allen, Dalen Everett, and Gunner Stockton. I feel like I lisped there. Gunner Stockton was the last one I said there. And I feel like that's a big deal. I feel like just vibes wise, it feels like if this position was in question at all, if there was any sort of a battle with Puglisi, I don't feel like Gunner Stockton would be a representative of Georgia at SEC Media Days. Granted, this is I've said, plenty of times, people have probably gotten tired of me saying it. This is the most unproven Georgia roster I can ever remember in a summer. Just you go into a season, you kind of know, okay, Georgia's got these handful of dudes that are probably going to be first round picks. Like maybe 2 or 3 that are getting some All-American love that everyone knows is a first rounder. I feel like that's basically what they had last year with Michael Williams, Malachi Starks, and Jalen Walker. Is like, oh yeah, these guys are first round potential. And not that no one has first round potential on this Georgia team. It was these guys are guaranteed first rounders basically. And now, like, I think Dalen Everett is a guy you're kind of seeing. I think I saw an All-American list. I think Phil Steele's All-American list had Dalen Everett on it. I think CJ Allen's getting some second team, third team type of love. And no disrespect to those guys, but I wonder if people kind of just gave them the Georgia bump, that it's, oh man, we've made a whole team here. We don't have any Georgia players. I'm surely there's 1 or 2. And that's not to disrespect CJ Allen or Dalen Everett or anything. I just think it's kind of a more unproven team this year. So this is some years, I went back and see who Georgia's representatives were each year, because I thought, am I just kind of, overreacting? Is Gunner Stockton just the quarterback on an unproven team? So yeah, whatever. He's got media experience. So he's a good representative of our team. He's a good kid, stuff like that. Like that could definitely be a factor. But so I went back in the last couple years. So in 2024, you got to remember Carson Beck is like preseason Heisman finalist. So obviously Carson Beck, Malachi Starks, and Michael Williams feels like a pretty no-brainer. I didn't even name Carson Beck as far as guys getting first-round love a year ago. And then 2023, you had Brock Bowers, Cedric Van Pran, and Kwame Lassiter. Kwame Lassiter was a DB safety for the Cardinals early 2000s. He was a headhunter, Kwame Lassiter. No, this is Kamari Lassiter. But I thought that was interesting because 2023 is Carson Beck's first year as a starting quarterback. So I think the fact that there wasn't a proven quarterback, but a guy who's like clearly the guy in 2023, like there was no real conversation about who was the starter. Like it was known after Stetson left, Beck is the next guy. So I mean, I guess there was some Brock Vandagriff talk in 2023, but I don't feel like it was ever a real competition. And the fact that Beck was not one of the representatives, that's interesting. Brock Bowers, a generational talent, and Cedric Van Pran, a team captain who was actually representative in 2022 as well. Maybe that's just a tough year to crack it. So maybe I'm reading too much into it. I'll acknowledge that, but no Beck is his first year as a starter. You go back to 2022, like I said, Cedric Van Pran was there, Nolan Smith, and then Stetson in his second year as the starter was the representative. And then you go to 2021, it was Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis with JT Daniels. And the way that 2020 season ended, JT Daniels was very established as the quarterback. So he only started 4 games, but he still felt established. And so he came to SEC Media Days that year. 2020, he had the COVID year. 2019, Jake Fromm, actually in his 3rd year starting, this was the first time that Fromm was a representative at SEC Media Days. And then, the two kind of guys who are getting preseason All-American love. Andrew Thomas and J.R. Reed were the other two representatives. And J.R. Reed that was actually his second time. He was a representative in 2018 as well, along with Terry Godwin and Jonathan Ledbetter. I don't think a lot of Georgia fans, if you had to tell them to guess who the representatives were in 2018, would have been able to recall Terry Godwin, Jonathan Ledbetter, and J.R. Reed. I don't think I would have. That was actually I remember that was the College Football, the SEC Media Days that was at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. I remember that one. But the more important part, Jake Fromm, the established quarterback on the team that just went to the national championship, who was not a representative at SEC Media Days. You go back to 2017. I mean, the way Jacob Eason finished that the 2016 season, like he was the clear established starter. Jacob Eason was not a representative at SEC Media Days, and Fromm and Eason are both sophomores, so I think Kirby might have a rule about these have to be upperclassmen, and so maybe that still would apply to Carson Beck not being a representative, but the other two, and also Jacob Eason, he's in a tough crew where you got Roquan Smith, Sonny Michel, and Nick Chubb. It's like it's gonna be tough to break in the representatives in that year. Unlike 2016, I said 2018 was kind of random. 2016, I think, would really take some Georgia fans back. It was not Grayson Lambert. It was not freshman Jacob Eason, of course. It was Dominic Sanders, Brandon Kublano, and Jeb Blazevich. So Jeb Blazevich, that's gonna be a name you can throw around at the bars with the diehard Georgia fans. That's a name drop right there that some people will appreciate. Big time recruit coming out of North Carolina, Jeb Blazevich. Really just part of Georgia's continued tradition of just landing top 5 tight ends essentially every single year. So that's what I thought was interesting. I think it says something. I think we all know about the kind of intangibles that Gunner Stockton brings to the table, and I think I worry sometimes if Georgia fans are kind of overrating the intangibles that Gunner Stockton brings. And maybe they are, maybe they're not. Maybe it's legit, and that's how he's just kind of become one of the leaders of this team. And it was a no-brainer for Kirby Smart to bring him to SEC Media Days because he's a clear-cut leader, and Georgia's got a good quarterback on their hands. Like that could all be true. And so I could also just be sitting here in July in the middle of talking season, as they say, trying to, read between the lines, suck any kind of juice out of any kind of pebble we're given of knowledge. Not sure what that expression even meant, but you get it. But yeah, so I think it's interesting. SEC Media Days next week, and Georgia is going to be going on Tuesday. So we'll see what no real surprise with Jalen Everett and CJ Allen. I think Jalen Everett is kind of the most established player on Georgia's team to this point, and CJ Allen, just middle linebacker on Georgia's team. I think because we talked about how unproven it is, there's not maybe Micah Morris, is one of the more experienced offensive linemen Georgia's bringing back, but there's not really that proven guy on the O-line. They're like, oh yeah, that guy's probably gonna be a first round pick this year, that Georgia's had in previous years. And then all the playmakers, or at least a lot of them, are transfers. So Oscar Delp, I guess, could have been another one that would have been an option. But yeah, Gunner Stockton getting the call. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I'm reading between the lines too much, but maybe, just maybe, it means that Gunner Stockton's ready to take this team. Sky's the